Hey guys, I'm Rich. Welcome to Rich with Cars. On this week's video, I'm gonna show you guys something super special. I have the 2025 Aston Martin Vantage right behind me. This, as you guys might know, is a brand new vehicle from Aston Martin where they facelifted the exterior, both the front and the rear, and they made it a little bit wider as well, and they also gave it quite a bit more power using the same powertrain that they had on the prior Aston Martin Vantage, which is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, and that's sourced from AMG, but they gave it more cooling, different camshafts and bigger turbos to give it an enormous amount of power, which is probably the most in its class. And this one right behind me has 656 horsepower and 590 pounds per foot of torque. I want to give a big thanks to Aston Martin of Orlando for giving me the opportunity to review this pre-production car. I'm super happy about it. If you guys want, take a look at the link below in the description to basically have a look at what they have in the inventory right now. And as always guys, I'm gonna show you guys a bit of the exterior, the interior, cargo, engine, but unfortunately I can't give you driving impressions because this is still pre-production and I cannot drive it. So as always guys, let's strap in and take a look. So the 2025 Aston Martin was first unveiled about a month and a half ago in February of 2024. This car is going to be available most likely in the middle or towards the third quarter of this year. And I wanted to show you guys a quick overview of the exterior to show you guys what the main differences are from the previous generation Vantage compared to this one, which has, quite a few changes. Even though they kept the same body, they changed quite a bit of the front and the rear as well. Right here in the front, it's got a bigger grille to absorb more cooling, and since they have larger turbos, of course they're going to require more cooling through the front grille. We have this grille over here with the horizontal vanes in the front, and then we have also the nicely painted front splitter as well. The biggest thing of all are these new headlights. The new headlights have a bigger look than the previous generation, and they emulate very similarly to the ones from the DB12. And if you look at it from the far in the front, it's got a bit of 177. We also have the new badging from Aston Martin. So this is redesigned, even though you guys have to put it side by side in order to see what the differences are, but this does have the new badging as well. And then we have also these vent cooling grills on the hood to allow the heat to dissipate from the front. We have these brand new wheels that are basically wrapped in Aston Martin specific. As you guys can see, it says AML over here, so that's Aston Martin Lagonda, and it's got the Pilot Sport S5s. Not many vehicles have this, and the S5 is actually not available in the aftermarket, so you can only get it directly OEM at this time right now. 21s in the front with 275, 35, 21s. So that's pretty wide. It's got a pretty wide track. Let's not forget that this vehicle has been widened, and you guys can see over there, look at that rear haunch. And I'll show you guys on the screen as to how much this car was widened by from the previous generations. The other thing also that's been updated is the side vent. Before it was a different look. Now you got the horizontal stripe over here that basically goes over the venting, which is functional by the way. And then you have these really wide side skirts as well. We have these side view mirrors that are also new. They're very similar to the ones that they put on the DB12. The reason that you guys see this in terms of being similar to the DB12 is because they are frameless, and when you actually adjust the side view mirror, the entire housing itself that moves when you're actually adjusting the angle of the mirror. The other cool thing as well that I like, this is new now. I don't think anybody's noticed this or said this in prior reviews, but before, in order to open the door, you had to press on one side and pull on the other one. Now this presents itself to you. So now you can just touch that, and as you guys can see, this stays out. So it's much easier to it's much easier to open up as well. Like I said before, the rear has been widened quite a bit. A lot of similarities to the previous generation, but you'll notice also some changes. One of them being this rear venting over here. This wasn't there before on the prior generation, and this basically has to do with releasing some of the pressure in the rear tire area. and also because the car has been widened as well. And then the other thing that really makes it pop out now are these quad tailpipes. The tailpipes in the rear, I mean, before in the Vantage you did have quad tailpipes, as you guys can see, but they never were this big on the tips. They didn't make massive changes, but they made enough changes to make it stand out and make it look different enough than the previous generation. So getting into the Aston Martin Vantage, the new one, so that's how the key looks like. It's relatively large, to say the least. I mean, it's quite heavy as well. It's got some heft to it. So this top portion right here is actually made out of glass, and it shows you the Aston Martin logo as well. Normal sort of key with lock, unlock, and then you got the trunk release. So let's unlock it. And now, as I told you guys before, you just push on that and it presents itself to you. Once again, Aston Martin retained the hydraulic doors, which means that you can place the door at whichever level you want. That means that if you want to leave it here, it'll stay there. The other cool thing also, let's not forget, it does retain the swan doors. So you guys can see over here that the door does open as normal, sideways and upwards as well. And that's also to clear the curbs when you're opening up the doors. Now let's get straight right into it. Looking right at the door sill, we can see that we have the Aston Martin logo here. Everything is finished in leather, as you guys can see. This is a nicely spec'd car. It's got the dark blue exterior with the blue and black interior. It's got the Bowers & Wilkins sound system. Similar sort of controls that you did on the previous generation Vantage. They did change the door handles now. Now these are similar to the ones that you see on the DB12 as well. Let's get into the seats. These are the carbon fiber seats that you saw initially on the Vantage V12 on the previous generation. These are optional. So of course they look really nice, but not very comfortable. So you can basically tilt it forward and back. In order to bring it forward and backwards over here, it's manual. It's also for weight savings. But we do have very nice materials like Alcantara over here. We have the Alcantara that sits on the bottom part of the belt. And then you can see the nice satin carbon fiber that surrounds the blue leather on the seat. It's a gorgeous seat. I can't say it's super comfortable. If you're going to be driving this vehicle on long distance drives or as a daily, I would probably recommend getting the standard seats. They are well bolstered enough, not as bolstered as these ones, but at the same time, you'll be able to drive comfortably. But these are gorgeous, to say the least. And the cool thing is that you do get the Aston Martin embroidery on the back part of the seat as well. You do have aluminum pedals with some rubber inserts to help grip the pedals. And then of course you have your light switches here on the side alongside your electric parking brake. And then finally, the controls for the seats do retain right there in the middle, as they did on the previous generation as well. So this is where the biggest change came with the Vantage, is the interior layout. As you guys can see, it's got a very similar layout than what they had in the DB12. Aston Martin finally brought up their game with the interior, especially when it comes to technology. They did not use any Mercedes-Benz technology for their infotainment. It's all in-house developed. The only things that they probably retained from the Mercedes-Benz are this stock right here. That shows that it's a Mercedes-Benz, but aside from that, and the engine of course, they didn't really retain much else in regards to Mercedes-Benz. New steering wheel. We have capacitive touch over here. New paddle shifters as well. Before, in the previous generation, they were column mounted. These are now steering wheel mounted, and it's a nice sort of aluminum or metallic feel paddle shifter. And like I said before, everything here now is updated, digitized, and really nice. Let's not forget this is pre-production, so I might not have all the features, but you guys can see that now the gauge cluster is updated. So there's a map over here. There's the tachometer with a speedometer there in the middle, and then you have additional information on this side as well. So I have different controls. This apparently adjusts the distance control for the cruise control. That allows me to turn it on and off. That's your voice control. That's your speed limiter. And of course, all other controls for the cruise control, and that's all your media on this side as well. I can change different things. I can put vehicle. It says I can't drive this car, so I can't show you guys. I can change the different views. But I guess this being a pre-production, it doesn't give me all the options. We have the new infotainment system that basically shows you a bunch of different controls on the car. You have media, navigation, phone, and then of course your home screen. Your home screen basically has a few tiles over here, alongside with a bit of the map over there as well. And then the cool thing that I really love about what they did with the DB12 and also with the Vantage that they basically carried over is the fact that the infotainment system doesn't really take up the entire controls of the vehicle. They did manage to retain a lot of physical buttons on the vehicle. It's not as much as the previous Vantage, because if you guys remember, the previous Vantage here in the middle was just like a full collection of buttons. Here's a little bit better in the sense that you do have both digital and physical controls that do mix up pretty well. That's your heated seats. You do have heated seats with these carbon bucket seats. That's your gear lever, reverse. You do have a very nicely appointed 360-degree view camera, and it's also very clear. You can put the vehicle's transmission into manual by just clicking this on the manual button. And these are your traction control, exhaust. So you have different versions of the exhaust. That's, I think, Sport, and that's Sport Plus. That's your suspension adjustability as well, to make it either stiff or a little bit less stiff, to make it more livable. You have different dials here for your temperature and your fan speed as well. This is very similar to what you saw on the DB12, which is your drive mode selector. As you guys can see, as I'm switching, it changes the drive modes. So it seems like the different drive modes that you have here, based on what I noticed, are so wet, individual, GT, Sport, and Sport Plus. Other controls here as well, which is your camera control. You can actually look around the entire vehicle, which is very, very cool stuff. A couple of cup holders here in the middle. You have a small middle glove box with a couple of USB-C plugs there. The entire interior is lined in leather, including the dash over here. Look at this satin carbon fiber. This is an option, and you can option it out whichever way you want, but since the vehicle is blue, it followed the blue theme with the carbon fiber as well. So you guys can see that the carbon fiber has a blue finish to it as well. The interior is a massive improvement. The other thing also that I wanted to show you guys, the previous Vantage didn't have. Now we have a glove box. So I'm glad that they ended up doing that. It basically adds to the interior convenience of the vehicle in terms of storage. Taking a look at the trunk of the new Aston Martin Vantage. You guys can see that we have a strut bar here in the rear. The rear storage area hasn't really changed much, which is a good thing, to be honest, because I really like these type of features, like this foldable compartment shelf over here. And then you have quite a bit of storage. I'll show you guys in the screen how much storage you have in this Vantage as well. Quite convenient, to be honest. It's very, very nicely appointed, and it does allow you to take long trips, in my opinion. And the other good thing that I do like is the fact that you have this handle over here to close the trunk. Lots of good things on the Vantage, to be honest, and they managed to improve it from the previous generation without actually putting a brand new body. Taking a look under the hood of the new Aston Martin Vantage, we still retain the same 4-liter twin-turbo V8 sourced from AMG, but with revised cams, larger turbos, and of course better cooling now. Apparently, what we've also been told is the fact that the engine now sits further back. Of course, it gives a better balance, because now being closer to the center, you have a better center of gravity, better balance between front and rear. So you have that beautiful 50-50 distribution of weight between the front and the rear axle. At the same time, we do have this bracing over here that you guys can see, with all the adjustability that you guys see here for the suspension as well. I'll show you guys the numbers, but like I said before, this power plant now pushes 656 horsepower and 590 pounds per foot of torque. They're saying that it's going to be about 0.2 quicker than the previous generation Vantage. So I think that sits at around 3.4 seconds, if I'm not wrong, but I'll put that up on the screen. We don't have much more information because this vehicle has not been tested yet. But at the same time, because of the fact that you have more power, now, like I said before, you also need thicker tires in the rear. So in the rear, like I said, you have 325s for the rear tires. So that's quite a bit of rubber to put down on the ground. In regards to suspension, like I said, now we have the Bilstein suspension and the dampers. So that basically gives you better dynamics and more adjustability as well. That has been carried over from the Aston Martin DB12. I'm super curious to see how this ends up driving and see how they've improved the overall experience of the Vantage. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick overview on the new Aston Martin Vantage. I've been quite impressed with what they've done so far. Like for example, the front over here, and I'm sure that the driving dynamics are quite incredible on the new Vantage. Increased horsepower, and like I said, refaced front, refaced back. So we have basically similar sort of face now to the DB12, much larger grille for additional cooling. Overall, incredible package, especially the interior. Aston Martin now being in line with the rest of its competition in regards to the interior layout, the technology as well. So ultimately, it's a great overall package. As always, guys, I wanted to thank you for all the views. Big thanks to Aston Martin of Orlando for allowing me this amazing opportunity to take a look at this pre-production Vantage. And make sure to take a look at their inventory. I'm going to leave a link below in the description for you guys to their website and to take a look at their inventory to see what they have available right now. But as always, guys, thank you very much for all the views, all the likes, and make sure to stay tuned for additional content in the future. Thanks, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.